Island. If you want to talk Love Island, bring it. Anything and anything. So feel free to chime in. I think, as usual, we'll probably keep this one fairly short. We all got to get up early tomorrow. So, but as usual, we're going to kick it off, I think, with Clowns of the Week. And we'll turn it over to CM for the Clowns of the Week.
I'm gonna keep it simple because we're gonna talk about the rest of the clowns of the week in the show. Um, her usual feel. Um, one of these days you won't be clown of the week. You also won't be wrestling anymore, and I look forward to that day. Hope you find something else to do that's not this. You got roasted by Dominic Mysterio, bro, and he was right because he was
You
like,
think get roasted. He didn't get roasted. He said, you know what's worse for the business than showing up at the UFC and getting. I mean, he's
"Twice,"
not wrong. It's 100%
and
true. But
the only reason he has a draw on his record is because bro was high. That's it.
yeah, when
If
I read that, I was like, ooh,
if bro had
Dominic.
been high, like you got beat up by somebody on weed, and weed makes you chill. You like bro, you got beat up by somebody on weed, not weed and nothing else. Weed, bro. Weed. So you have that as one of your clowns of the week. Other clown of the week goes to WWE as an organization, not for the thing we're going to talk about in a minute, but for the fact that they got so pissed at Tiffany Stratton, and I don't like her. They got so pissed at her and were talking all this ish, and she's so horrible. How can, and the fans did it too. How can she say this about Charlotte? That's not Charlotte. Like, that was Ashley Flair who had 3 divorces, but cheered for Becky saying that stuff to Nikki Bella. Why are we bringing up old relationship? Because if I was Nikki, I would have forgotten that we might have discussed that and said, oh, like he was trying to get with your old trainer and he turned you down most of the time. You threw it at him and he swerved it out the way. How was the prince? But see, I'm messy. So I would have gave her the energy she was asking for. And last but not least, third cloud of the week goes to the fans.
I have one when you're done.
Okay. We, WWE fans.
Fans, WWE
W,
fans.
WWE fans. You expected them to do something with John Cena going here. Y'all expected The Rock to come back. You expect the product to get better. Why would it get better if the people keep buying into it and keep watching it? You watch a premium live event that was what 4 or 5 hours, night one of a show that only had 97 minutes of wrestling on it,
Ooh, ouch. I mean,
but you
I didn't watch it, so I didn't lose no time. But I didn't realize it was that
I
much.
I
That,
didn't
that's no
watch it.
wrestling.
I literally on the times you can like on the match card you see the times.
Right, right.
You add it all up. It's under 100 minutes of wrestling. You critique Tony Khan for having these long shows. At least in a 5 hour show,
You get
four
12
and a,
matches.
4.5 hours is wrestling.
Yeah,
And
no
the
doubt.
other 30 minutes is typically a Will Ospreay entrance. Or the Young Bucks.
No doubt.
So tying all
No
together,
doubt.
WWE fans, y'all expect too much. Or too little. I don't know. I don't know what to put for you there. But yes, go ahead, AOW.
All right. So my clowns of the week are all of the known racists that love to come out of the woodwork to defend each other when someone has something to say about one of them. So, as we recently know, the man who shall not be named, recalled Terrence from Tampa, has passed away. I'm going to say this in the best fashion. I don't care if it fucking offends anybody. Good riddance to bad rubbish. You are a bad human being. I'm sorry if that fucking offends anybody. Oh, well. And I'm tired of hearing racists that we are known racists, i.e., Tessa Blanchard, are the ones come out and say, so the man is separated from the word. You can kill him. Fuck that. I don't care. I don't care what good he's done. It's all overshadowed by the fact that you're a terrible human being. I don't care about your kids and your family in that regard. I really don't. I mean, as far as voicing my opinion about you as a person, I understand trying to be disrespectful per se, but you are a terrible human being. And the fact that we as a society tend to change the narrative when people die, it's like, people that are horrible human beings all of a sudden become revered because they're gone. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So,
Add in, add in, add in the people that want to be anti-racist when it's convenient. Kevin Nash, I'm talking to you, bruh.
exactly.
Because how you go from, oh, don't be racist, don't do this, don't do that, to, oh, he was my friend.
I know exactly.
He was he said he racist. He literally said it
If
in
your
the
best
call.
friend is racist, you're condoning some racist shit. I mean, I don't care. I mean, just because you might not make a racist, your best friend is a racist. You're, as far as I'm concerned, you're racist. I mean, you condone it. I mean, that's all. I mean, it's that simple. So,
I just I find it interesting how man said he was racist. Then he apologized, but his apology never actually said the words "I am sorry for" and "I take accountability by." You have Mark Henry who invited him to go to HBCUs and literally speak. He refused. Fired a black model because she was black. And then people want to act like this is a new thing. It's not a new thing. My grandfather saw this man in the territories in the 60s and 70s. He, among some of your other favorite wrestlers, loved to say that N word quite loudly, quite often, mainly directed at black men, but loved to try to get with black women. Take that as you will. Most people get mad at me for saying it. Again, my tea is always confirmed, usually by somebody, and it all comes out. Just tell them.
no, I just love how you can always tell who the worst people are because they always come out to defend the other worst people. Of course, you don't want anyone attacking them because that means like, So yeah, no, Kevin Nash. I mean, talk about it, man. And the thing is that like, no, I'm not separating the words from that's ideology. That's who you are. When you have those beliefs, that's at your core being. Those aren't just like, oh, whatever, I made a mistake and punched a guy drunk in a bar, or I fucking whatever the case may be, I was speeding and hit somebody. These are ideological things that you believe, and I don't believe that those go away. I mean, I think you can try and learn and grow and I'm going to use this person as an example, and maybe it's the wrong area, but in my mind, it feels like to me, and again, I wasn't super privy before because I wasn't, but whatever. I mean, Mark Briscoe, it feels like has made that effort where it feels palatable that he's actually. I have a hard time forgiving what he's done in the past. At the same time, it feels like he's growing enough now, whereas there's just no effort from a lot of these people to grow. It's just excuses why it's okay to be the way that they are, and I'm not here for that.
And
So,
it's not just Mark Briscoe. It was Jay Briscoe as well. For
oh, Detroit,
them,
rest in peace. Yeah,
actually finally understanding the hurt and the harm they were doing to their black fans and to their black friends by platforming the Confederate flag, taking accountability, apologizing, and seeking to undo some of the harm that they did the work.
yeah,
They acted,
yeah.
Mark is still actively doing the work to try to address and undo some of the harm. Whereas Terry Bollea and all of his friends never did the work,
Yeah, or
but
try
they
to pretend
want
like
to
they were
receive
doing, whatever, like, so that they look
they
good.
want to receive
Exactly.
the accolades of doing the work, but they didn't. He came back and
Exactly.
said, "Oh, just don't get caught." This man said he hopes that his family is never reincarnated as N-words because it would be karma for everything he did. Called himself a racist, went on a racist rant after sleeping with one of his daughter's friends. Like, people seem to forget that one of his children's friends is the reason his wife finally divorced him. Speaking of him and his wife, they actively did some very things that WWE is in an active lawsuit against type things with other people, and that is why Macho Man Randy Savage hated him. Like, why are we trying to praise Terry Bollea? He wasn't shit.
Yeah. No,
It
I
is
agree.
what it is. Maybe next lifetime he'd be better, but this lifetime he acted. And besides all that, letting go, like moving the racism out of the way, I think for me as a wrestling fan, what he did to a potential wrestling union and the impact that has had is horrible. Nancy Benoit and her son could still be here. Johnny Lawler could still be here. Ashley Massaro could still be here. We wouldn't have a Janelle Grant lawsuit. So many people's lives, especially women, could have been different if he had just shut the hell up.
Mhm.
Real simple. He didn't have to say nothing.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
But to go along with that, and to transition to us to our main topic before we head on out for the evening, um,
Ooh.
over the weekend, SummerSlam happened. And ALW and I do not watch WWE. If we catch stuff, it's because you all say something, or we catch clips, or something pops up.
Yep.
Over the weekend, Brock Lesnar returned on Sunday. Actually, back it up a little bit. First, Paul Levesque decided to state that they would no longer, as an organization, be doing press conferences after the show. People found that a little odd, and then Brock Lesnar comes back. And you don't know, Brock Lesnar is mentioned 44 or 45 times in the current Janelle Grant lawsuit. And before anybody says, oh, he didn't do anything, the two reasons he didn't do anything is because he was drunk and because he was like, he asked for and received a picture of this woman peeing, tried to set up a play date with her, um, and spoke very degradingly to her. If he was a good human being at any point in time, he could have reported the fact that Vince was attempting to use this woman in contract negotiations to the federal government. He did not. I also would like to throw out there, if you do not know the woman who sued Vince and actually got money from it and actually was the first person to defeat Vince and WWE in the courtroom, look no further than Brock Lesnar's wife, Sable, and then actually look into their relationship. Look into what type of lawsuit she won against Vince, and then look into her relationship with Brock. Look at Brock's history backstage with Terry Reynolds. He brought Brock Lesnar back. In the words of Kendrick Lamar, he got weird. He is mentioned in a weird case. Why is he around? And WWE platformed him. And many wrestling fans will continue to go along with Brock coming back,
Yeah.
but expect change.
Yeah, for the longest time, and it's not really an excuse. It's I mean, it is, but it's not. For the longest time in my lifetime, WWE really was the only viable platform on TV. I mean, there was WCW for 10 years or 12 years, and there's been TNA kind of off and on, but like on regular TV, my whole life where you could actually catch it and watch, the bulk of my life has been WWE. And if you're a wrestling fan to a certain extent, I mean, you can go out and get tapes of other stuff and you can do whatever you want, but the bulk of the time you really had to watch WWE. And so, and I for a long time I guess I was naive. Maybe I didn't want to know. I mean, I just didn't whatever. I mean, a long time I was young, and then even when I started to get older, I guess I just whatever. And I always knew that Vince was whatever he was, and I that there was kind of this as you watch people pass away and you start to get a little bit more knowledge about what's going on, you start to see the veil kind of come back a little, and then in more recent years, you see the beyond the mat stuff and then the dark side of wrestling and all those kinds of things. And, you start to actually realize and learn about some of these people and some of the things. And it's just, I had hoped as a fan that, once, I mean, obviously naively, and I've even said this, like, so it's a weird kind of contradiction, but like, I was hoping, I guess I was hoping. It wasn't, I didn't necessarily think it was going to happen, but I guess I was hoping that once Vince was kind of essentially separated. And I guess the deal is that he's really not because all of his disciples are still there. So the reality is that he's technically not. But even though he is a way that something would be different, that maybe somewhere I should have known better, that maybe somewhere Triple H and or Stephanie was a slightly better person than Vince was, and that we might get something different in the future. And clearly we're not. I mean, clearly, as I just kind of also ultimately knew, but I guess didn't want to admit, is that they are, just Vince disciples, and so it
Hold
is
on,
really him still there.
hold on. Let me get this right. You thought
I know.
let's start with Stephanie. Let's start with Stephanie. You thought the woman who actively pushed her father to fire the woman who she stole her long term boyfriend from, fire her, degrade her, and drag her legacy through the mud.
No, I mean,
What's
no,
gonna be
not
better? Hold
really.
on. Wait, because I can do one better. You thought the woman who was actively involved in multiple Vince's cheating storylines is going to be better for business. Because think about it. In those Vince storylines, who was typically the female that the mistresses went up against? Oh, look, it gets better. Any of us actively thought the woman who many
I
of the
mean,
women said I went to, especially because not to say anything, but Ashley Massaro said, "Hey, I went to this woman as a woman and said, hey, I was harmed in this particular situation. I needed help. Can you please help me?" And she
she didn't do
received what?
anything. Right.
We thought
Right.
we thought that was gonna be better. Oh, but my personal favorite, we thought Paul Levesque was going to be any better. This man who only got his position is only still in the company because of his wife.
Well, I mean, I knew he wasn't going to be. I knew that they weren't going to be rationally, but I guess there's that. I guess that well of hope and faith that maybe, but clearly not. I mean, clearly it's misplaced. I mean, I mean, I knew. I mean, I definitely knew that.
ALW. This man had all the smoke for China in her weakest moments, but still hung around X Pac. Still hangs around X Pac to this day, who was one of China's, who was one of Johnny Lawler's biggest abusers.
Yeah,
Hung out with
you're
this
right.
man, platformed this man, acts like this man can do no wrong, but has everything to say against Johnny Lawler. I'm. I
Yeah.
don't understand why y'all expected anything from that
So
family.
because
And I
I get
even
it.
like
You expect
Shane,
it.
and I don't expect nothing.
We're just hoping. I don't know. I guess it's naive hope. Wanting to think. To have faith in people. I guess. But
Vince, Vince has at least a reason, given his
listen, it.
childhood
Oh,
and everything.
Laura says, listen, if Stable sued for harassment, got paid, and used it as a storyline, mind you, that was his best friend's wife. I accept that. It's life. They used the excuse he wasn't civil or legally charged.
How about the fact that Brock Lesnar broke into
Drinking in a storm stop
mm,
jar.
mm.
Hmm.
Look into
Listen,
their history. Look into
you,
their history. Look into Brock and Rena Mero's history. And I use that particular name. Look into that history. It's a
you know,
pattern, Brock.
yeah, and when there's smoke, there's fire. Like, I mean, I tend to believe women. Men are slimy assholes. I'm not saying that there hasn't been a woman that has lied. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that there haven't been women that have targeted rich men. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that men are slimy and sleazy as a whole, and that when 99% of the time when a woman says a dude did something, I tend to believe it. I just do. I mean, and the reality is that if your name is associated with that, chances are good you probably did something at minimal, whatever it was. I mean, I'm 50 years old. My name's never been associated with that because that's not the kind of person that I am. If you ask my wife, she wouldn't say that I'm a fucking piece of shit. Like I don't hit my wife behind closed doors. I'm not. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna get any dessert. There's no dirt here. Like, and if your closet is clean, I'm not saying clean like whatever everyone has whatever, but I'm just saying like if your closet is fairly clean and you're a decent human being, like there is that you shouldn't be that stuff shouldn't be around you. Like you, and when it's more than one person. One person is whatever, but when it's more than one person or more, it's like, come on now. I mean, I don't. There's no way
Or
I'm
you
not
married
believing
the
40
person
women
you
over
thought
one
you
guy.
was
Like,
into?
way. I mean, it is not. So,
I know people are using the excuse he wasn't civilly or legally charged, and it's because he could not complete what he set out to do.
yeah. And honestly, I don't really care. They can say, that it is what it is. I mean, it's a court of public opinion, the right or wrong. And, whether I have all the information or not, I'm allowed to draw my own opinions. And I know when I hear something like that, I already know what I think. So it doesn't charge or not. I don't really care, so.
I
And I
just
and I, I mean, I can see, I'm blind. I can see what I see with my eyes. I know what I know. I mean, I've been alive for a long time. I know people. I've seen a lot of people come. I've seen a lot of people go, and I know, when you see somebody, what kind of person they tend to be. I'm not saying every book is whatever, and I'm not saying that everyone should be, but when you see stuff, and like you said, you see a pattern, you see the way a person acts and conducts themselves in different phases of their lives. It permeates into all things. So if you're an asshole, you're not just an asshole in one phase of life. Chances are good you're an asshole in all phases of your life, right? I mean, it's not something that tends to be a trait, a character trait, not just oh, I'm irritated at this moment. No, you're probably an asshole in all things that you do. So,
to hire
mm,
women and put them in a situation where they don't know what the actual job is, but it seems like part of their job description is to do nothing but sell their bodies, to not train them, and then put them in some types of matches to have them degraded, and when they want to get better at their job, actively hinder them. We knew what this company was a long time ago. We knew what this company was a long time ago.
yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, there's no excuse. I mean, it feels like, I mean, now that I'm not watching it, I feel kind of like, oh, I decided to take an arbitrary stand, And at the same time, to a certain point, it feels like better late than never, right? I mean, at some point, you do have to just say, I'm not doing it anymore, And again, like I said, for the longest time, and it's not an excuse, but for the longest time, they really were the only thing to watch. And so, if you wanted to watch wrestling, it had to basically be WWE. So, I mean, I don't. And I'm a wrestling fan, so I mean, it is what it is. Now that there's a truly viable other product, and there was, when WCW was around, I think I watched. I don't really remember, but I feel like I watched more WCW than WWE at the time. Mostly because all the WWE guys that I had grown up watching had moved over to WCW. So I was like, oh, so we watch there, right? So like these are all my dudes. So,
And no,
but
we are
yeah,
not saying AEW is perfect. They have their own
of
flaws.
course, 100%.
However, those flaws currently do not include an active lawsuit for trafficking. And this is again not the first victim, not even the first woman, the first victim to say anything. They also have a lawsuit from the Ring Boys. They have to, they don't want to discuss the issue and the allegations that occurred from Ashley Massaro
Yep.
and
Yep.
the impact of the people who helped her and just how messed up they were. And it's not even just WWE. I'm looking at you too, TNA, because y'all continue to hire and platform an abuser in Matt Hardy. And that is why I have issues with AEW, because you platform an abuser in Matt Hardy, who was accused multiple times by Ashley for harming her physically and emotionally. And we saw it play out on Twitter between Matt, his wife, and Ashley.
Well, Dolores says I feel bad for my boy Cody, and here's my question to you on all that is, as fans, much prior to me, more power to you, but myself now at this point, it kind of taken, for better, worse, a moral stand against WWE in some regard by not watching the product, paying for the product. Um, at what point do some of the people that have chosen to go there bear some responsibility for continuing to? Is it really I feel bad for my boy Cody, or is it Cody needs to take some responsibility for willingly moving away from a company that sure has flaws and whatever to another company that has far more issues clearly? Um, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Fuck Cody.
Huh?
Fuck Cody. Fuck Cody Rhodes. Fuck Cody Reynolds. Whatever his name is legally. Fuck
Okay,
him.
well, how about a wrestler
Go
that you
back.
do like?
You
How about a
don't.
wrestler that you do
You
like
don't.
that's in
Hold on. Hold
WWE?
on. Hold on. Pause. You don't have that promo talking about I ended racism to go back to freaking
Yeah.
WWE.
Yes. 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 No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. No doubt.
Don't get me wrong. That might have been one of the worst promos I've ever heard in my life. But you don't go from that to WWE and then go to a Republican convention
Yeah.
and do all that. It is very obvious he's going to be a politician once he leaves wrestling. He's good at it. Give him that. He'll win whatever he's going for. But yeah,
I ain't going
um,
for him, but
I like I like Naomi. I
so
like
she
let
so,
me
so
let
there's a
me
perfect
praise it.
example.
Trinity Fatu. I like Trinity Fatu.
So there's
I
a perfect example
I
of
think
she was
I
very
think she's a
disrespected,
wonderful woman. Yeah, and
and now she's
I
back.
no longer watch her. Um, I she pops up on my social media pages from time to time. I'll like pictures, because I appreciate her. Um, however, I can no longer enjoy her because she went back to a place that actively sought to diminish what she was trying to do, and she was right. She continues to be proven to be right. She and Mercedes walked out because they weren't using those women's tag belts properly. And what has happened since then? That those belts, women's tag team wrestling could have revitalized WWE because they have so many talented women who can wrestle and who would be amazing with those belts. And what have they done? Like I love Trinity Patu. And I look forward to the day that she wakes up and understands she is amazing. And she never needed WWE to be amazing. WWE needed her for them to be amazing. Because she is a great wrestler, a great person, and choosing to go back to a space that actively sought to harm you mentally and emotionally, and I hope she finds peace in whatever she chooses to do. But to go along with that, I don't feel bad for Cody taking away from his win at all, because I also don't think that Cody should have won that belt, because he's gonna go film Street Fighter. Um, Cody should have. They should have did a double turn. Cena goes back to being face. Cody turns heel. But again, they can't do that because politician Cody won't allow it to happen. Maybe at this point, the only way he could be a bigger face is if he beats up Brock Lesnar, and I don't know if that's believable. I don't know.
Dolores says, mind you, if I took every company and their racism harassment, I could barely eat, drink, listen, or watch anything. Listen, even Martin, etc., had allegations. The Cosby Show. I don't like the person.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I mean, you're not wrong.
that's
I mean, I
that's
was just,
you. Let,
I
let
mean,
me
I was,
let me let me put it like this. Let me put it like this. I did not miss a moment of WWE except for pay-per-views. Even when I went to college, you can ask my roommates. They hated me, but it was my TV, and we watching Raw and SmackDown. It was what it was. Before I went out to party, we watching Raw and SmackDown. Gave it up. I was the biggest Chris Brown stan. Gave it up. I actively looked up R. Kelly stuff so I didn't have to listen to it. Then when people were like, oh, by listening to these records of R. Kelly, it gives money to his victims, looked that up, found what happened, and then I would stream stuff so the money would go to the victims. It used to be a barb before barbs were a big thing. Then she did what she did and continues to do what she does. For I love Target. You couldn't find a bigger Target person than me.
yeah, no, I mean,
There
it's,
are
you
certain
know,
things and times that you can give up stuff that yeah it might hurt for a little bit, but at what point do you say? And it's not even just the lawsuits they're involved in; it's the administration they're involved in. At what point do you say I cannot be complicit in my own destruction?
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it's tough. I was just talking to my wife earlier this evening about how, it's very disheartening when you start to know, it's a weird concept, but when you see people, I guess it's maybe do things that the average person can't do, or excel at something, and they're projected in a way that is, they're a celebrity, they're a superstar, they're a known commodity, right? And as a result, a lot of times you tend to look at them like way up here, right? But the truth is, like way above your eye level, or the normal human eye level, right? But the truth is that they're really just right here. They are just people, and a lot of them have a lot of real issues, and a lot of them are not nice people, and a lot of them are not people you would want to hang out with or choose to be friends with when the chips are down. Like, or not even when the chips are down, but just wouldn't choose to be friends with, or don't want to go, don't want to hang out with. And it's a sad reality, because it's harsh, because you do, as kind of, as kind of, I guess, sick as it is in a way. I mean, we glom onto these people, and you start to think, oh, there's so and so, and then they're just not, or you find out, maybe you don't know, you just didn't know, you had no idea, and then you find out truly what they are, and it's like, fuck, man, there's so many of them. It's like one after the other, businesses, that they contribute to this or that, or a person this or that. It's like fucking Dolores is like, it does feel like at some point, I mean, it's like there's nobody there's very few there are very few people, companies, or things going on in this world or in this country that are not guilty of some sort of poor community, action, or whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, and just yeah, it's so people are terrible. It's when it really boils down to it, a lot of people are just terrible people. And it's sad to get to know. I mean, it's sad to find that out about people that you've liked or that whatever. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the reality is that as a if your goal is to not be that way, you can't continue to condone it. If you know, I mean, no matter what the impact truly has on you, barring life and death, right? I mean, depending on what the situation is. But yeah, I mean, it's not hurting me to not watch WWE. Now, to be fair, it's not hurting Triple H because he doesn't know. I never spent any money to really begin with and all that. He doesn't give a shit about me. But it's not hurting me to not watch WWE. So in that regard, that's one of the things that I can do. I mean, it's not hurting me to not go to Target, particularly, even though it is what it is. So, to try to stay away from some of those things. There are definitely some things that, you know, would have that have had a major impact on my life. That I try as best I can to do the right thing for the most part, and I know sometimes I'm still guilty of not doing it. But yeah, I mean, and Dolores is right. She says it's personal choice. You know, it is, and you got to live with those choices, right? I mean, you have to be okay with those choices. So and that's I don't know. That's Nika says wrestling is from the South, so it's hard for them to get out of the racism. Yeah, I mean, I think some of that's true. I mean,
There is a
I know.
certain level of racism built into America against Black Americans
North and
because
South.
of who who and what we are. It happens and you expect it. Unfortunately, it is what it is because you expect it. But again, I personally cannot watch a propaganda machine for an administration who is actively bent on destroying who I am as a person,
Yeah,
not just my ethnicity, but also my gender,
yeah,
and bent on destroying it and using this propaganda machine to normalize the ideas that they have and disseminate it to other people. It's like red pill content,
hmm
but louder.
yeah,
I I I learned. I'm 34 years old. I learned that I can be a fan of someone and still critique the things that they say and do. I am a
sure.
Kendrick Lamar fan, but there are things that he does I do not agree with, and music I will not listen to because I do not agree with who he worked with. It is what
Yeah,
it is. But when it comes to being a propaganda machine for something that is blatantly obvious and harmful and seeking to harm the most innocent people,
e- exactly.
as the things are going around, as the memes are going around saying, if it's built on this thing, let it crumble.
Yeah,
Because if it's all built on this thing and we
yeah.
have to do this thing in order for it to maintain,
Then let
F
it
the
go.
maintenance.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
But
100%
again,
agree.
if folks choose to watch WWE, that is on them.
Yeah,
I just personally ask, at what point do you say enough is enough? I can't keep giving my money, my attention, my mind, and my emotions to this company. At
yeah,
what point do you do it?
yeah. No,
But
and
again,
when your ideology is the destruction of who I am or harm to me as a person, then yeah, we got a major, 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 major issue. So
Yeah. But again,
that's
them bringing back Brock and not just the Janelle threat accusations, um, but people actually digging more into his history and remembering what Terry said, remembering the other things he did.
Laura says MVP getting heat, not shocking. Him not liking speedball is crazy.
That's his choice. Not everybody likes Speedball because I personally could see myself not liking Speedball in real life because he comes off as too happy all the time. When you're happy like that all the time, you freak me out because why? But he's also Canadian, so that also makes me nervous because again, they are the reason we have the Geneva Convention. If y'all want to know why I, as off as I am, look at Canadians and just say, look at why we have the Geneva Convention. Because dogs, man. Dog soup cans. Hmm.
And wrestling level, not even on the whatever's going on with Brock on a wrestling level. Just, I mean, the guy's a terrible wrestler. So I don't even. I mean, I never understood why he was as big as he was in wrestling, just on wrestling alone. He's never been a good wrestler. So, and then you bring him back. I mean, it's like,
We have two better versions of Brock that are younger. We have his daughter, and we have Obafemi.
I guess MVP didn't want Hurtson to get to lose to Jet Speed. So,
Okay, it makes perfect sense for them not to.
but how you gonna get back like Bailey? You think Speedball made that booking decision? Okay, so let me understand here. Tony Khan is involved, MVP is involved, Bobby Lashley is involved, Shelton Benjamin is involved, Kevin Knight's involved, and Speedball Mike Bailey. And Speedball Mike Bailey's the one that's making the call on who goes up. Please
Well,
miss
are
me with
you
that.
going to go? Are you going to go after Kevin Knight, who's the future of the company? No, you're not going to go after your friend. And you damn sure aren't going to go after your boss. Who is the weakest person to go after? Speedball, my baby. Okay.
I just the implication that Speedball was, had something to do with them getting chosen to go over. It's like, really? Come on now. But you're right. I mean, he's an easy target to go at.
I mean, again, I've reached the point where I'm a fan of wrestling, but I removed a lot of emotions from shit because it was the point. And I will say my most favorite famous person, I have never heard any bad stories about her. Well, either of my two most favorite famous people, um, never heard any bad stories about her, them, and I think that I think that's really good, and I hope they stand up happy, and I hope they continue to receive all the blessings that is that are coming their way. But
You want to get up
I,
out of here?
yeah, I'm tired, y'all. I've been up since like 4 o'clock, and I gotta get up again tomorrow, and it's a
Yep.
lot. But I'm gonna reiterate and say, at some point, you have to make a choice about what you consume and give your energy to in order for you to grow as a person.
Laura
And
says,
sometimes growth is hard.
Laura says it seems that a lot of people in AEW not like an MVP, but I agree that man rapping at 4 a.m. pissed me off. All right, you want to do the house cleaner? Or you want me to do the house cleaner?
Um, let's keep it simple and brief. Y'all, we are
All
live. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. Most of the time now, um, we live on Saturdays. Well, Fridays. Usually Anika's here on Fridays. If it's just her holding it down by herself, Anika and Sammy is here on Fridays watching WWE SmackDown. Um, Anika will hold it down by herself. That's why she is one of my favorites, famous people, because she holds it down by herself. She has a good time and she enjoys what she watches most of the time, even though she questions it. And sometimes she questions it so much and her face gets stuck that I think my computer screen is frozen and she is just confused as to what the hell WWE just did. So you can find her here on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then on Thursday, on two, no, on
Okay.
Saturdays
Saturday.
at 10 a.m. Eastern, you can find everybody except me here at Winter Circle talking about all things AEW. Sometimes they slide other things in. We are live for all AEW pay-per-views on this channel. Occasionally for WWE streams. You can find them on Dolores's channel. Dolores's channel. Um,
Plug it, Dolores. Plug it.
Yes, Dolores, drop your link in here. Um, Please, if you haven't subscribed to our channel and Dolores' channel, please take the opportunity now to subscribe. If you have subscribed, make sure that you are still subscribed to both of us because sometimes YouTube will push it out, sometimes they don't. You can also, speaking of, you can find us on Twitch. When we go live, you can, Twitch pops up and it is far easier and better and more reliable to have Twitch notifications on um, than anything else because sometimes YouTube doesn't send out notifications. I'm subscribed to our channel. I still don't have the YouTube subscription that we are live. I have the Twitch like notification we're live. We are here a lot of times on Tuesdays for the Cookout, Comfort Wrestling, Stay for Chaos. We talk about a variety of hot topics. Sometimes we play games. Sometimes we have watchings. Sometimes it is literally just us trying to figure out what the hell is even wrestling. Um, that is Dolores' channel. Follow her, like, share, and subscribe for all the things. Comment. Please, again, if you are subscribed to us, please make sure to have all your notifications on so that you get access to our notifications. If you are not seeing them, follow us on Twitch. You will see the notifications. Make sure you follow Dolores and do the same for her because that is a lot of times right now because how YouTube notifications go out. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. Twitch, you get them 99.9% of the time. We are everywhere for the Cookout Podcast, everywhere you find podcasts. Um,
Yeah, hold on.
and
There's
that's
a
it.
graphic board somewhere. There's a graphic board somewhere. We're there.
And
All those platforms. You can scan that little QR code. It'll take you to the link tree and get them all in one spot. And I think the
we
last
here.
slide
Pew,
is
pew, pew, pew,
you can
pew.
listen to us if you want on these podcast platforms. You can listen to the Cookout without having to watch it on YouTube. So check all those out. Other than that, I think that's it. I think you hit them all.
All right. Till next time. Hold on before you hit the music. Until
Yep.
next time, please know that you are respected, you are supported, you are loved. If at any point in time you feel unsafe, please reach out and get help. We can't help you, but we're going to tell you to go find help and get out of bad situations. But know that you are loved. Wash your hands, wash your ass, and have a good rest of your week, folks.
Mm-hmm.